We will now proceed with our other questions. Senator Guingona will now ask his question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My first question is for Chairman Iqbal. Mr. Chairman, good morning. Assalamualaikum. Mr. Chairman, I know that peace is important for you and for everybody. And we all want to understand and let the truth come out. So let me ask the questions that everybody wants to ask, really. Mr. Chairman, who do you think killed the 44 SAF members? And Mr. Chairman, why were they killed with such brutality and cruelty, Mr. Chairman?
Sa initial report ng ceasefire committee ng MILF, it was admitted that the encounter in Tucanalipaw was between MILF and SAF commandos. So on the basis of that admission, I can say here that some of those SAF commandos were the result of that missing counter. I would again repeat the word missing counter, in quotation mark. It was the result of that missing counter. And then alam din po natin na hindi lang naman sapang namatayan. Kahit na yung MILF, meron 18 na namatay at saka 14 na sugatan.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, but bakit po napaka-brutal ang pagkapatay? People are asking.
Well, both sides are using high-powered firearms. Then, dahil masyadong matataas po ang kalibre ng armas, sa tingin ko, ganun nga nangyari. Yung tinamaan talagang malubha.
Ang ano po, is going to the next point po, Mr. Chairman. Inamin ninyo na merong ibang mga armadong grupo sa areas ninyo. Importante po ito sapagkat sa usaping BBL, meron tayong binubuong provisions dyan na yung Bangsamoro Autonomous Government magkakaroon ng police force. So ang tanong ng mga tao is kung sa ngayon meron mga armed groups na pwedeng umikot-ikot sa areas na kontrolado ninyo at gumawa ng karahasan, so much more so when the Bangsamoro Autonomous Police is implemented, Mr. Chairman.
Siguro, ang masasabi ko dyan sa party rin ng MILF, hindi ho namin sinasabi na yung MILF is in control of a certain area. Maybe a certain percentage of control can be used, but total control po hindi. Kahit na kung kitiyan po natin, kahit na yung government of the Republic of the Philippines, wala rin ho naman total control sa area. Maraming mga grupo doon na gumagala. So ganun ho yun. Walang total control. And then, iba ho, sa ngayon, kung sakali may patayo po natin ang Bangsamoro government, at meron na pong, kahit na sa umpisa pa lang ng Bangsamoro Transition Authority, na kung saan ang MILF maglilid, meron na hong legal authority ang MILF. Sa ngayon, wala ho kaming legal authority na gawin po namin yung trabaho ng kapulisan. So pag na-impress na po yung Bangsamoro government at kung saan, halimbawa, ang mananalo po ng karamihan ng seats sa parliament yung partido po ng MILF, siguro mas maganda at mas mabilis at mas effective po ang pamamaraan na pwedeng gamitin natin para masugpo yung mga karahasan po sa mga areas na yan.
Thank you po. And in your letter to the Senate, you stated that the MIF remains a revolutionary organization until the peace agreement is fully implemented. Mr. Chairman, ano pong concept ng full implementation at ano pong manifestation yan para malaman ng lahat po?
Siguro, can you please allow me to explain the context? Alam natin na going back to narratives, ang mga Moro naman talaga hindi kaparte ng Pilipinas. Magmula pa nung Kastila, may Manila pa nga, hawak ng mga Moro ito. Pagdating ng Kastila, nagkaroon ng 300 years na giyera. Hindi rin nasakop ang Moro. Pagdating ng Amerikano, naipatayo po ng Amerikano yung Moro province. And then, during the grant of independence, ang ayaw ng mga Moro sumali sa mga Filipinos kasi sabi nila, mahirapan po kami pagkasali kami diyan. But pinilit din ng Amerikano mapasali ang mga Moro sa grant of independence. So nung nandun na kami sa ilalim ng independensya, totoo yung sinasabi po ng mga ninuno po namin, of course with exceptions, hindi ko naman nilalahat yung namumuno dito sa Pilipinas. Alam ko meron din exception. But in its totality, ang nangyari po sa amin, talaga nahirapan po kami. Pagpalagay po natin, in 1898, 98% of the land in Mindanao belonged to the Moros and the IPs. But now, only around 30% or even less than that. So, dahil doon, nung nandito na kami sa loob ng Republika ng Pilipinas, marami hong nangyari sa amin, yung mga lupa namin, nawawala sa amin, and then meron mga series of massacres. So, dahil doon, nangyari yung 1968, yung Sabina Massacre, then namulat yung mga mata ng mga Moro na yung pala sila, wala silang future dito sa Pilipinas. At saka sumunod yung mga Ilaga, maraming na massacre sa amin, tens of thousands na mga Moro na massacre. So doon po pinatayo po ang Moro National Liberation Front para po ipagtanggol ang karapatan ng mga Moro. At sa unang pagpatayo po ng Moro National Liberation Front, ang objective talaga magiging independensya. And then ay patayo po ang MILF 1977, ganun pa rin ang objective namin, independensya ng Bangsamoro, because we don't have space under this republic. But nung magkaroon ng MILF, then naging presidente si President Ramos, pinapunta po niya yung secretary si Ruben Torres after sa signing of the 1996 agreement para po magkaroon din po ng usapang pangkapayapaan sa pagitan ng MILF at gobyerno ng Pilipinas. So pinag-aralan po ng MILF, then at the end, ang desisyon po ng MILF kailangan pag-usapan ng kapayapaan. Then, nagkaroon po ng ceasefire agreement. Tigil putukan po, and then after that, nag-start po yung pag-usap from January 1997 hanggang sa dumating sa punto na si Estrada ang presidente, si Arroyo for 2 terms, and then si President Aquino, yan po ang usapan, and then nagkaroon po ng pirmahan yung framework agreement ni Bangsamoro, comprehensive agreement ni Bangsamoro, at naisulat po namin yung Bangsamoro Basic Law. Yan po, sa Bangsamoro Basic Law, ang hangad po dyan, magkaroon po tayo ng isang batas na autonomy, a real autonomy with power and resources, para po yung mga Moro mabigyan po sila ng isang pagkakataon na sila po ang mamuno sa sarili nila, but is still part of the Republic of the Philippines. So, ganun po yan. Ibig sabihin, pag naipasa po itong Bangsamoro Basic Law at na-implement po ang Bangsamoro government, and then, the revolutionary concept of the MILF will no longer be there because pag na-implement po ang Basic Law, and then, na-implement po yung Basic Law, and then, ang mangyari po sa MILF, it will no longer be a revolutionary government, but it would become a social movement that would help the people through building health centers, schools, etc., etc. And then, sa paghawak po ng gobyerno, sisiguraduhin po namin na yung political party namin, engage po sa political party, pag kami po ang mananalo na most seats in parliament, kami ho ang hawak ng gobyerno. So, ibig sabihin, balutan na po ang pag-uusapan dito. Kaya, at that precise moment po, mawala na po yung revolutionary nature of the MILF. As a revolutionary government, it will become a social movement that would no longer advocate the use of arms. Ganun po yan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My next question is to Governor Hataman. Governor Hataman, could you please explain to the benefit of everyone, ano po yung konsepto na pintakasi?
Actually,
ganito ba yung nangyari dito?
Actually, in short, kung halimbawa development ang pag-usapan, i-apply yung word pintakasi is bayanihan. Pero pagdating sa giyera, parang pinagtulong-tulungan. So halimbawa, may papasok sa isang community, parang stranger, talagang pagkukuyugin talaga siya at pagtutulong-tulungan. Halimbawa, yung sa case ng Albarca na nangyari, even yung magkakalaban na puwersa, katulad nung nangyari halimbawa rin dito sa Mamasapano, even hindi in good terms ang BIFF at MILF kasi may stranger parating, pwedeng sa puntong yun pagtutulong-tulungan nila. After nun, sila na naman ang mag-aaway.
Okay, thank you very much. And do you think that's what happened here?
Actually, ako personally na witness ko, based na rin sa mga interview nung pumunta ako ng Tuka na Lipaw, actually ganon yung incident. Halimbawa, ngayon, after nung incident na to, kahapon lang nabalitaan natin, nag-away ang MILF sa Pagalungan at BIFF. Isang BIFF ang namatay. Kaya rin masabi ko na kasama ang BIFF dito sa operation na to, etong pangyayari sa Mamasapano, kasi mismo yung spokesman nila umamin na merong namatay na isang BIFF at isang BIFF na wounded. At umamin din sila na mayroong mahigit 10 na armas na kuha sila.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me go to another topic. Lieutenant General Guerrero, yung best efforts text mo, saying that per guidance of the President, so the President instructed you to, could you please elaborate na lang so that we can, yung buong kwento po.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning. The text that I sent to the Division Commander, 6th Infantry Division Commander, General Pangilinan, is a guidance on what to do for the next operation, which is to rescue and retrieve the 84th SAF. My text, the first sentence is to best effort without endangering the troops because it's already nighttime. That text was sent at about 1900, Your Honor.
1856.
1856. The second sentence is per guidance from the President, ensure that no friendly fires. Because at night, it's difficult to conduct a link-up operations between the Army, together with the SAF, and the 84th SAF. They were about 800 meters to 1 kilometer, Your Honor. And that is, the link-up operations is a very dangerous, especially when there is no communication. So at night, I advise him to make sure that there will be no friendly fires. But make sure that you are able to link up with the troops and recover the entire 84th SAC. Successfully done at 23:30 or 11:30 in the evening, Your Honor. The reaction of the 6th Infantry Division Commander is, his answer to me is he will force the troops to conduct the link-up because that is the best way to support them, Your Honor.
What about the phrase per guidance from the President sa text mo?
That is exactly my interpretation from what were discussed during the briefing in the afternoon in Zamboanga City, Your Honor.
I thought the President was not told about what was happening in Mamasapano.
Later in the afternoon, the topic of our discussion then was about the Zamboanga City car bomb. But he asked me about the developments ongoing in Central Mindanao. So I gave him an update based on the information that I'm getting from my division commander, Your Honor.
Around what time was this update?
At about 1700, Your Honor, around that time, after his visit to the different hospitals and the blast site.
What time?
About 1700, Your Honor.
Were there any other instructions from the President?
We were actually talking about how to resupply them because we were thinking about the maubusan na po yung bala. So I have no direct information or complete information on what's happening with that 84th SAC. So we were thinking of ways on how to go about the conduct of link-up or rescue operation by the 6th Infantry Division. So my text, the next SMS I sent is asking him, what is your concept of operations for this mission of link-up or reinforcement, Your Honor?
Was the phrase best efforts really used, or that was your interpretation?
That's my interpretation and my guidance to the division commander, Your Honor.
Okay. I would also like to ask General Pangilinan, ilan po ang na-rescue ninyo sa 84th?
Madam Chair and Your Honor, ang na-rescue po natin ay 11 wounded and 17 unharmed. 8 Kia po at ang kanilang mga equipment.
I'm sorry, ilan po?
11 wounded po, 17 unharmed, 8 Kia at ang kanila pong mga equipment o mga armaments.
Anong oras po ito nangyari na naka-rescue kayo?
Nakuha po natin sila at around around 11:30 in the evening po, Your Honor.
So it's clear now. I just want to point that out, and I want to emphasize this to everyone that it's not the armed forces. Let's not try to magnify the division between the finger pointing between the PNP and the armed forces. The armed forces was able to rescue the 84th members of the 84th, and I think that's a very, very good achievement. The 84th, by the way, is on the Seaborn. Am I correct? That's the Seaborn. That's the one that went into all the way to the hut of Marwan. Am I correct?
That I learned later, Your Honor.
Yes, but now it's already it's the
Yes.
Seaborn that you were able to rescue.
Yes, Your Honor.
So I'd like to emphasize that. Congratulations to the armed forces on a very, very positive note. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Our next senator to interpolate is Senator Sotto.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have two points. But before that, I just remembered a few hours ago the statement of an old friend of mine about the situation in the Philippines from the time of the People Power Revolution up to the present. He told me before that we never fail to miss the opportunity to miss an opportunity. Well, I was reminded in this incident because apparently we never failed to miss the opportunity to miss an opportunity. The AFP missed the opportunity to play hero and act swiftly to save the men of the 55th, not the 84th. The MILF missed the opportunity to show that they can and will preserve peace in Mindanao. The former PNP leadership missed the opportunity to show magnanimity by trusting their peers. So I hope for our committee, let us not miss the opportunity to show the people that we can achieve truth and justice. With that, Madam Chair, may I ask the chairman of the MILF, or perhaps Governor Ataman can answer. This is with regards to the numbers of casualties. We have 44 on the side of the PNP SAF. The SAF contend that baka mga 250 sa MILF and the IFF must have been killed. Now, but the MILF said 18. They admit to 18 casualties. My question is this, and is it the procedure? Isn't it not? Well, isn't it the procedure that in the Muslim community that before the dead are buried, within the supposed 24 hours upon death, they report this to the civil registrar's office and get a death certificate for the bodies of the dead before they are buried. Ganito po ba ang ginagawa? Yes, Governor or Chairman. Di po ba within 24 hours, usually yun po ang patakaran?
Yun ho, ang patakaran sa Islam, na pag mamatay ang isang tao, hanggat pwede, hanggat maaari, kailangan ilibing within 24 hours.
Tapos, nire-register din po ito sa civil registers?
Not necessary ho. Not necessary ho. Karamihan ho, hindi na nire-register yun. Especially in the, sa liblib na mga lugar.
So hindi tayo magkakaroon ng accurate headcount pagka ganun, dahil walang death certificate.
Siguro, on our side, Your Honor, we are conducting an investigation on what really happened. And perhaps if they claim that there were 250 MILF forces,
You will know.
including including the BIFF, malalaman po natin yan kasi sa libingan lang, napakalawak na po yun eh.
Okay. Now, hindi po ba kayo nakahandang mag-submit ng kopya ng investigative report ninyo? Hindi pa po tapos.
Hindi pa po tapos. Current po, ginagawa po nila. But hopefully in a few days from now, we will be able to terminate the investigation.
All right. In that case, Madam Chair, I will reserve my other questions for the MILF and the peace panel after I have a copy of the investigative report so that we can compare it with the report of the AFP and the PNP. Now, just one more question for the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Perhaps General Katapang or any commander or head of the Armed Forces. Did you receive any communication from the MILF in the wee hours of January 25 or any time within the day?
As for me as commander of 6ID, I did not receive any from the MILF, Your Honors.
What about your brigade commanders or division commanders?
I am the division commander, Your Honor.
So none of you received any communication from any member of the MILF within the day?
None, Your Honor.
Yes, General Galvez.
Sir, Madam Chair, Your Honor, I received a message, a text message on 6:38 in the morning, sir, informing me that there is an ongoing crossfire fight between the MILF and the Armed Forces of the Philippines. It was,
And what did you say and what did you do then, General Galvez?
sir, I was then in Iligan City with the independent decommissioning
No,
board.
an MILF member sent you the
Yes, sir.
message. Okay.
He is my counterpart, Mr. Rashid Dajasan, who is the CCH chairman. Normally, the mechanism is once anybody from the mechanism informed them that there is an engagement, we immediately organize a joint ceasefire crisis team, sir. So that's why immediately
what did you tell him after, and what did you do after?
he suggested that we really need to go to the area because in our ceasefire mechanism, in order to have really a ceasefire, you have to go in between the two fighting elements. So in that case, upon learning this, we agreed to considering that he is in the area, he is in Cotabato City. He organized the team with our team, the Joint CCCH, with the IMT, and also with the LGU.
All right, Madam Chair, thank you. I will reserve my questions later on after we have received a copy of the investigative report from the MILF. Thank you.
Honor, can I just say that we have submitted a report of the CCCH to the committee and the AJAG with the timeline of what happened in as far as the CCCH and the AJAG are concerned. There is already a written report submitted, Your Honor.
Yes, I know. I just want to make sure that everything is complete by reviewing the report of the MILF. Thank you.
Madam Chair, can we
Yes.
get copies if the committee has
We
received
will
it?
check. I'm not sure if all the documents we have in receipt because some of them were submitted late yesterday afternoon, but we will certainly provide you a copy, those that requested. We have it. Senator Hanasan, you may now proceed with your question, sir.
Madam Chair, may I manifest that I have exchanged places with Senator Nancy Binay, and to reciprocate her graciousness during the first hearing, she will. I'm manifesting that she go ahead of me.
Let me remind the senators that Secretary De Lima will be leaving at noon for a meeting. So if you have any questions for her, please direct it now. And also to please phrase your questions shorter so that we can finish and go to an executive session sometime early afternoon, hopefully by 1 p.m.
Madam Chair, can I proceed? Can I proceed? Thank you, Senator Honasan. Thank you, Madam Chair. Kay Secretary Gazmin, when were you informed na may ganong pangyayari na sa Mamasapano?
Your Honor, I was not informed about the Mamasapano incident. I learned about this when I was in Zamboanga about 11 o'clock. I was not even clear that it was Mamasapano. I knew I was informed that there was an encounter between the MILF and the SAF.
Sino pong nagkwento sa inyo?
I believe it was General Guerrero, the West Mincom commander, when we were in Zamboanga, the air base of the 3rd Air Division.
How about kayo, Secretary Mar? Kailan niyo po nalaman itong insidente?
Una may natanggap po akong text mga alas 8 or just before alas 8 ng umaga na merong skirmish or firefight sa pagitan ng MI at saka ng SAF. So it was in the parang ordinary course of business na text na ganito nangyayari. Wala namang akong alam na merong operasyon na nangyayari sa araw o sa oras na yun. So, pinasa ko po ito na please look into this. Tapos nag-take off na kami patungong Zamboanga. Sometime pag-landing, mga 10:30, nakita ko si General Inking, who is the DIPO. So, nagsimula na ako nagtanong na what's happening, ano nangyayari. Can you look for General Napeñas? Kasi SAF ang nabanggit doon.
Sino ho yung nag-text sa inyo?
I will go through my record.
Siguro while you're checking your text messages, kay General Katapang, kailan niyo ho nalaman yung operation?
I was texted by Director General Purisima at about 5:30 in the morning.
Di ba ho, General Katapang, Secretary Mar, Secretary Gazmin, noong January 25, magkakasama ho kayo sa Zamboanga. Tama po ba?
Tama po.
At from what time to what time ho kayo nasa Zamboanga?
Take off namin ni Sec Balls kasama ang Pangulo, mga 8:30, 8:45, 2 hours roughly, sa mga 10:30, 10 ang dating. Bumalik na kami rito mga alas 9, around 9 o'clock at that time. May log naman doon sa airport kung anong oras dumating ang mga aeroplano.
Kayo po, General Katapang.
We were in a separate plane, Your Honor. We were riding a C-130. We left about 0600 together with our officers, and we were joined by Secretary Soliman and Secretary Boots Abad, Your Honor.
Sino pa ho yung iba niyong kasama sa Zamboanga? Since you already mentioned Secretary Abad, Secretary Dinky Suliman, sino pa ho yung kasama dun sa Zamboanga?
Of course, General Guerrero and the other generals, and we were able to came early to meet up with the president and talk about the Zamboanga bombing. We were there for a discussion on the Zamboanga bombing, Your Honor.
Kayo, Secretary Gazmin, sino pa ho yung kasama nyo papunta ng Zamboanga?
Ang kasama ko po papunta sa Zamboanga si Secretary Mar.
Sino pa ho? Sino pa ho? Hindi ho, nung Sunday, sino ho kasama nyo papuntang Zamboanga?
Ang Pangulo, magkasama ho kami ni Sec. Bods.
So kayong tatlo ho yung magkakasama sa eroplano?
At saka yung mga staff ng Pangulo.
So since magkakasama na ho kayo on that day, and si General Katapang po 5:30 pa lang, alam nyo na ho. Meron ho ba sa inyo nagsabi sa Presidente, for example, nakakuha na ho kayo ng text, Secretary Mar, at 8 o'clock, while you were on the plane, nabanggit niyo ho ba sa Presidente na, Sir, mukhang may ganitong pangyayari na nangyayari sa Mamasapano?
Hindi na pag-usapan sa aeroplano. Ang dating nung text sa akin it's an isolated event. So, minarapat kong alamin muna kung ano yung nangyayari bago i-elevate sa level ng Pangulo.
Base na rin ho dun sa sinabi niya, 10:30 may nakausap na ho kayo. So, who informed the President among the three of you about what was really happening in Maguindanao?
Yung nakausap ko po is tinatanong ko kay General Inking, PNP Director, 2-star Inking, ano ba nangyayari? Kasi siya yung DIPO, Integrated Police Operations, Director for Integrated Police Operations of that area. And he was in Zamboanga precisely to brief us doon sa bombing sa Zamboanga City.
Di ba, ang tanong ko, Secretary Mar, di ba, you got information about the incident. When did you tell the President? Or when did you inform the President na may ganong nabubuong problema sa Mamasapano?
Hindi ko mabigay kung anong oras or minuto. Pagdating ho namin, diretso kami sa briefing doon sa Air Force, ano ba ang Ebuen? Ebuen Air Force Base. Andrews Air Force Base. At nagsimula na yung mga briefing. So, nakikinig kami. Sometime around 11, ganun, na merong nangyayari sa Maguindanao. But again, hindi malinaw nga kung ano yung nangyayari. Because we were in fact still trying to find out.
So yun hong sinabi niyo kay Presidente na, Presidente, parang merong hindi malinaw na nangyayari sa Mamasapano. Ganun ho ba?
Parang ganun, because there was many things that were happening. Siguro, i-reconstruct ko yung mga text, tapos para yun ang, kasi that's the basis of the information that I had at that time.
And what was the response of the President?
I cannot, the briefing was going on sa housing. So parang kung ano na nangyari sa housing para doon sa Zamboanga housing.
So wala akong sagot si Presidente when you mentioned it?
I don't recall.
Sige. Secretary Gazmin, kayo you found out 11 a.m. Did you talk to the President and informed him?
Hindi ko po sinabihan ng Pangulo dahil unang-una, ang na-receive kong information, nagkaroon ng encounter ang SAF at saka MILF, to me, there was no sense of urgency. Pang-araw-araw na report yung natatanggap kong ganyang encounter. Until after dumadating yung dating ng report na nagmamount yung casualties. But earlier, hindi ko nasabihan ng Pangulo dahil, as I've said, this is a PNP operation.
Pero di ba parang medyo delikado na nga yung sitwasyon dahil maaapektuhan nga ho ito nung peace process, pero ang dating ho sa inyo, it was just an ordinary business for AFP and PNP na nagbabarilan ho sila sa Mindanao?
Wala pa hong involvement ng AFP doon. It was the Philippine National Police.
But did you ask General Katapang kung ano hong nangyayari? You were all together. Magkakasama ho kayo dun sa kwarto. Did you approach General Katapang and ask him na, General, parang may nakuha akong report na may ganitong encounter, and apparently si General Katapang received a text from General Purisima asking for help. Hindi niyo ho ba siya kinausap?
Hindi umabot sa akin yung humihingi ng tulong ang PNP.
Pero alam niyo na ho na may nangyayari. Did you
Encounter,
ever...
yung sinabi.
Yun na, may encounter ho nangyayari. Didn't you ever... Hindi niyo ho ba tinawagan si General... Hindi niyo ho nilapitan si General Katapang para sabihin sa kanya, General, may natanggap ako na parang may ganitong encounter daw na nangyayari dito sa Mamasapano. Hindi niyo ho siya tinanong kung ano ba talaga to. Dahil galing na rin ho sa kwento niya, parang ang gulo-gulo ng mga nare-receive nyo information. And I think General Katapang is the best person to give you the correct information. Hindi nyo ho siya nilapitan nung magkakasama ho kayo sa Zamboanga from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m.?
Hindi ho.
So hindi nyo ho siya kinonsult?
Hindi, kasi tuloy-tuloy ho yung schedule ng briefing tungkol sa Zamboanga bombing and the housing rehabilitation project in Zamboanga.
So kayo din ho, hindi nyo rin ho binanggit na sa Presidente. So kung hindi nyo ho kung Secretary Mari didn't tell the President, Secretary Gasmin didn't tell the President, and I think General Katapang hindi nyo rin ho sinabi based from your statements yesterday. Tama po ba?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, yes, hindi ko rin po in-inform si Presidente.
So sino hong nagsabi sa Presidente na may ganitong pangyayari? Kung you already composed majority of the security cabinet cluster, and not one of you even mentioned to the President na there's already this big problem in Maguindanao.
Ma'am, if I may. Ma'am, we did not know that this was a big problem because we did not know that there was even an operation going on at that time po. So in other words, no, kung alam ko that there was 390 mahigit that was going to undertake an operation, any small information, then magti-trigger yan ng thinking. Pero ma'am, araw-araw may mga nagputukan dito, nagputukan doon, Hindi. So hanggat nalaman namin late in the day, late in the afternoon, in fact, I think General Napeñas, kailan na tayo nag-usap? Anong oras na tayo na nakapag-link up na ano ba nangyayari? Do you have a...
Hindi ko ma-recall, sir, but...
is it before lunch, after lunch?
Yung text message po na natanggap ko, galing kay General Spina, sir. Tignan ko lang, sir. 11, something like 11, sir.
In fact, we were trying to find out the scale and the scope of the problem until much later in the day.
Mga anong oras po?
Ma'am, alam niyo yung scale na nag-text nga ako kay ay may record, sir, hapon na po yun na medyo nagulat, sir, galing ko yata sa inyo. Parang pinako-confirm, ano ba ito, 11 daw ang patay na. Parang something like that, sir. Tapos sabi ko, nag-text ako, sir, kay Napeñas. ano ba itong nabalitaan doon? 11 yung patay. Talaga ma'am, hindi na alam yung scale.
Anong time frame mo?
Hapon na po yun eh.
Mga more or less po.
Mga 3 na siguro ma'am yun eh.
You inform, alam niyo na ho yung Secretary Mar na gano'n. Parang may 11 na namamatay by 3 o'clock.
So tinatanong ko, anong nangyayari dito na 11 na ang namamatay? So tinatanong natin kung anong nangyari.
And based din ho dun sa statement nyo, from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., kasama nyo ho yung presidente. Tama po ba? So, 3 o'clock you already knew na parang 11 na yung namamatay. And you did not even talk to the president about it?
Towards the end, doon na nga, nagsimula na bumubuo yung larawan na medyo matindi ito, malaki ito. So, doon na nga siguro, hindi ko alam kung anong oras yung nagsimula yung conversation na nabanggit kanina, na give them support, or yung nababanggit kanina ni West Mincom Rusty, General Rusty. Do you know what time that was?
Your Honor, that was about 1700 or 5 o'clock p.m.
Umubuo na around mid-afternoon, 3-4, na medyo malawak ito. By that time, nasabihan na yung Pangulo, nagbigay ng guidance ng Pangulo
Sige,
sa West Mincom.
I guess kasi my time is up. One last question. Di ba mga 3 o'clock ho to? So who approached the president and told him, sir, kailangan na natin pag-usapan to kasi parang who broke the news to the president that by 3 o'clock, 11 already died? Hindi naman ho pwedeng nagpulong-pulong kayo bigla doon. I mean, paano ho kayo nagpulong-pulong doon kung hindi isa sa inyo magsasabi sa presidente na may ganun ng pangyayari? So who among you informed the president? Wala ho? Wala pa din ho?
Alam niyo po, I think we really need to set this for the record. The best way, as much as possible, that you can remember the events. For the record lang, si General Katapang, kailan po ninyo nalaman talaga, alam ko nabanggit na ninyo to anong oras ninyo nalaman na nagkakagulo doon sa Mamasapano?
Your Honor, Madam Chair, hindi po namin alam nagkakagulo sa Mamasapano. In-inform po kami by 5:30 in the morning or 5:45 na mag-ooperate na po sila.
Mag-ooperate.
Wala pa po yung napasabak na, nagkaroon na ng mga namatay, kailangan na po ng reinforcement. Wala pa po, hindi po na yun na pag-uusapan.
Ngayon, General Purisima, kailan po kayo humingi ng tulong sa military? Anong oras at kanino?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, nag-text po ako sa Commander ng West Mincom kay Lieutenant General Guerrero nung humihingi na po ng unang tulong at 7:57 in the morning, Your Honor.
Hindi naman ninyo tinext yung Pangulo para i-report ko ano nangyayari?
Hindi ko pa rin na, Your Honor, yung pangyayari po na yun, ininformahan ko na po yung director ng yung OIC ng PNP, ininformahan ko na po si General Katapang about the incident. Noong pong humihingi na po ng tulong si General Peñas pagdating po sa mga yun po yung ginagawa po, Your Honor.
Alam ko humingi ng tulong si General Peñas mga alas 7 ng umaga, tama ba? Sa military? General Peñas, anong oras? Kasi kung humingi ng tulong sa military, dapat nalaman na rin ni General Katapang ang insidente. Kailan po, at parang ang hirap paniwalaan na umaga hanggang gabi na magkasama kayo ng presidente sa Zamboanga, hindi nyo nababanggit yan. Katabi na ninyo yung Pangulo. Siyempre, responsibilidad ninyo yan at Commander-in-Chief ninyo yon.
That was about 7:30 to 7:45,
Kaya
Your
nga
Honor.
po, ng umaga.
Nagpunta na po yung
So
Deputy
sinabi niyo
Director
sa military. Kanino po sa military ninyo sinabi?
Nag-briefing po yung operations officer namin doon sa Mechanized Brigade Commander, doon sa Mechanized Brigade Headquarters.
At ang Mechanized Brigade Commander, kailan sinabi kay General Katapang? Kailan ninyo, opo?
Madam, Your Honor, immediately after that briefing, the Brigade Commander immediately planned on how to assist the PNP. And by
No, sir, my question is, when did you inform General Katapang?
I did not inform General Katapang. I informed my immediate commander, who is General Guerrero.
General Guerrero, when did you inform General Katapang?
When they arrived in Zamboanga City, Your Honor.
So in the morning, he had knowledge of it. Around 10 in the morning,
I'm not
9?
sure about the time, but we were busy at that time. We were busy preparing for the visit.
What exactly were your words to him when you told him? And the reason why I'm trying to establish is, before we continue with the questions, we need to have this on record. This is the timeline also of your chain of command to your commander-in-chief. Your commander-in-chief cannot make possible, reasonable decisions without your inputs. General Katapang.
Madam Chair, Your Honor, I was informed immediately upon landing of the airport, and I told General Guerrero, please provide assistance.
So that was your text. So in your
That was not a text, but an order. We were.
So it was an order.
We were together when we landed the plane in Zamboanga. He was the one who received me.
So your clear order was provide assistance. And General Guerrero, did you relay that order?
Actually, Madam, Your Honor, the order that I early on, at 6:07, I called up General Pangilinan when I received the call from General Spina.
Okay.
At that early, I already gave him the guidance to provide assistance because that was the request of the OIC of the Philippine National Police, Your Honor.
Okay. So I just want to get this straight for the record, for our records here. General Katapang or General Guerrero, when did you inform the President? What time?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, I did not inform the President.
And in your judgment, why did you not feel the need to inform the President if you felt it was necessary enough to provide assistance? And if you weren't aware of the situation, wouldn't at the least, wouldn't you ask the President, sir, are you aware of this operation?
Madam Chair, we were focused on the Zamboanga bombing the whole day, and
Of
unfortunately,
which claimed the lives of how many people in Zamboanga?
about 2 lives
And 2, you're very concerned. Of course, every life is valuable.
and about 30 wounded, or
30
50,
wounded.
50 plus wounded.
Of course, this is all vital, but this is also vital alongside with that. So for the record, you did not inform the President. And for the record, I would like to ask you, just to satisfy all curiosities, and I think that I will be remiss in my responsibilities if I don't ask this. General Purisima, you never informed the President or even reported to him the progression of events in Mamasapano during the day of the encounter.
Your Honor, may I be given time to seek clearance with the President to answer your question, Your Honor?
Yes, yes, General Purisima.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Now we will proceed with Senator Honasan with your questions.
Madam Chair, I understand that Senator Cayetano, because of the need for Secretary of Justice De Lima to leave soon, is requesting to ask one question to...
Yes, let's wait for Senator Cayetano. Senator Pia Cayetano. Okay, Senator Pia, really quickly, ma'am. So, General Purisima, you're going to, if ever, invoke executive privilege at this point?
I'm asking time
to seek clearance.
To seek clearance. It's not my duty
Okay,
to...
this is also, just for the record, also for our viewers, this is the prerogative of the President. If on the other hand, it also raises more questions on the panel. We will continue with our line of questioning. Senator Pia.
Just because you mentioned to ask our questions now, no, just one question for Secretary De Lima before you go. Ma'am, you've been with us for 3 days. Thank you for your patience. And because we have with us Chairman Iqbal today, I would just like you to put on record once again what you said in your earlier statements about the applicability of criminal laws upon either BILF or MILF members who performed acts of brutality and cruelty in the encounter with the SAF, so that later on I can use that as a follow-up question to Chairman Iqbal. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Okay, you're referring to acts of brutality or acts of atrocities.
Or in whatever else happened during
Yes,
in the course of that
and when-
encounter.
Yes, Your Honor. If and when it's proven that there have been acts of brutality, cruelty, and atrocities in that particular incident, now, definitely our criminal laws would apply. The revised penal code is there, and that applies to all. But in respect to, especially that, the acts of atrocity, especially if they would qualify as war crimes or crimes against humanity, although I must caution, I must add that these crimes have very specific definitions under both the Rome Statute and our own version of the Rome Statute, which is RA 9851. Genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and acts of aggression. Now, these are the so-called most serious crimes of international concern, but we applied it to our domestic setting because of the situations of armed conflict with certain groups. Now, the applicability of RA 9851, as I mentioned earlier, would now really depend on the assessment of the exact status of MILF. There is no question about BIFF. BIFF, not, it is an illegal organization per se, and therefore it is subject to all our laws, particularly revised penal code, and I do not think of any extenuating or exempting or any qualifying circumstance that can possibly help them in defending themselves if they're proven to be really responsible for these killings and acts of atrocities. But on the part of the MILF, we have to consider, at the very least, at this point, without yet the benefit of the complete facts, that they remain a non-state actor. And as non-state actors, they have certain rights, obligations, responsibilities, and accountabilities under both international law and domestic law already applied under Republic Act 9851. So we have to see it within that context. But first things first, we have to determine the exact status. But war crimes, these acts of atrocities under any setting, whether peacetime, wartime, or even armed conflict, remain to be punishable. They are not sanctioned by any law, but there are levels of responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Pia. And Senator De Lima, you may, unless you have further questions, Secretary De Lima, you may now be excused from the hearing.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Your Honors.
And thank you for your inputs also.